Have you ever wondered why some men seem to draw women in without even trying? They aren't the tallest in the room. They don't have six-pack abs. They don't drive luxury cars. Yet, somehow, women lean in closer, laugh a little louder, and remember their name when everyone else fades into the background. The secret isn't what most men chase. It's often the subtle, overlooked things that you do without realizing. And here's the uncomfortable truth sometimes. The very things you've been told don't matter are the ones that make you stand out most. Imagine this. You walk into a cafe, not dressed to impress, just in a plain shirt, maybe a little wrinkled. You're not flexing, you're not peacocking, but you order your coffee calmly, thank the barista, and stand with a quiet, grounded presence. Another guy walks in, sharp haircut, flashy watch, loud voice, but notice who the woman at the counter glances at twice. It's you, because calm confidence radiates more than noise. You're not trying to perform for anyone, and that non-performance, that's magnetic. Here's what men rarely understand. Attraction isn't built only on the obvious signals. Women are wired to pick up on micro cues, your tone, your posture, the way you hold silence instead of rushing to fill it. That subtle refusal to chase validation screams stability. And stability, in a world of chaos, is sexy. Most men think they need to talk more, joke harder, or prove themselves faster. But in reality, over-efforting signals weakness. Women notice when you're centered, when your energy doesn't scatter the second they test you. They may not even be conscious of it, but it draws them in. Think about the times you've been overlooked. Maybe you watched her laugh at another guy's jokes, and you felt invisible. But did you realize that your very restraint, the fact you weren't dancing for her attention, planted a seed of curiosity? Later, she'll wonder, why didn't he try so hard? Why wasn't he affected like the rest? That contrast is what lingers. Unconsciously, you stand out more by needing her less. But let's go deeper, because this isn't just about vibes, it's psychology. Women are constantly filtering men for stability, confidence, and emotional control. Not because they're cruel, but because their instincts push them to test for strength. If you're the man who doesn't fold under silence, who doesn't chase when she withdraws, you communicate something rare. You cannot be manipulated easily. That's the foundation of respect. Without respect, there's no attraction that lasts. Now, here's where most men slip. You think attraction is about chasing harder when she pulls away. You double text. You try to explain yourself. You attempt to win her back with gestures. But all that does is confirm her suspicion that you're easy to move emotionally. You're showing that her withdrawal controls you. The surprising truth, one of the most attractive things you can do, is nothing. Hold your line. Keep living your life as if her silence doesn't define you. That indifference unsettles her. It forces her to recalibrate. Suddenly, she's the one wondering where she stands with you. Another overlooked magnet, your focus. Men underestimate how powerful it is when you're locked into your mission, your work, your training, your goals. When you talk about something you're building not to brag, but with genuine passion, your eyes light up in a way that makes her lean in. You're no longer just another man orbiting around her approval. You've got your own gravity. And that, more than compliments or charm, keeps her thinking about you when you're not there. Let's make this tactical. If you're on a date and she throws out a dismissive remark, maybe about your job, your car, or your appearance, most men nervously laugh or try to defend themselves. Wrong move. The attractive play is calm detachment, a slight smile, a change of subject, no bite. You show her that her jab didn't land. This creates a tension because she realizes you're not easy prey. Respect follows silence, not justification. If she pulls back and goes cold, don't chase. Instead, match her energy. Slow down your responses. Put your focus back on your priorities. This isn't playing games, it's showing her that your emotional stability doesn't depend on her whims. Ironically, that's when she often comes back warmer, because you didn't collapse under the test. And if you feel the urge to overinvest buying her things too early, pouring your heart out before she's earned it, catch yourself. Attraction is built in layers. Give too much too soon, and she feels the imbalance. Hold back, pace yourself, and you'll notice she starts leaning forward. It's not cruelty, it's control. Controlled giving makes her feel your value more than reckless generosity ever could. So here's the truth. The most surprising things that make you attractive are often invisible. Your silence, your indifference to manipulation, your focus on your mission, your refusal to over-explain or over-give. They make her chase clarity, and when she's chasing clarity, she's chasing you. Have you ever recognized yourself in this exact situation? What happened next? Which one of these traps have you fallen into most, chasing harder, overgiving, or breaking under silence? And what would it feel like if, just once, you held your ground instead? Picture this, you're sitting across from her and the conversation stalls. She looks away, checks her phone, maybe even sighs a little louder than usual. Every nerve in your body screams at you to jump in, fill the silence, make her laugh, prove you're interesting. That's the trap. The moment you break under that silence, you hand her the power. You tell her, without words, your approval is my oxygen. And once she knows that, she'll test it again and again until you've bled out every ounce of dignity just trying to keep her attention. Here's what you don't realize: silence is your ally. It's the moment when most men fold that you can stand out by simply staying still. When you refuse to break, when you hold her gaze calmly or simply sit with ease, you flip the script. Suddenly, she's the one questioning herself. She starts wondering, why isn't he nervous? Why doesn't he try harder? And that quiet confidence makes you more intriguing than 1,000 clever jokes. Women feel it at a gut level. Men who can sit in silence without cracking are dangerous in the best way. Let me give you another example. A woman once told me about 2 men she dated. One, the moment she went cold, would flood her phone with messages. Did I do something wrong? Are you upset? Please, talk to me. The other, when she withdrew, he carried on like nothing had changed. He stayed present in his life. His tone never shifted. And when she finally circled back, he met her with the same calm energy. Guess who she couldn't stop thinking about? Not the man who begged for answers, but the one whose world didn't collapse when she pulled away. That's the one she described as different, though she couldn't explain why. You and I both know the answer: control. Control is everything. It's not about controlling her, it's about controlling yourself. Your impulses, your words, your reactions. Most men are slaves to the emotional roller coaster women put them on. If she's warm, they light up. If she's cold, they panic. That volatility kills attraction. What surprises women, what pulls them in deeper, is when your emotional state is steady, regardless of hers. She can try to push you off balance, but you won't budge. That's rare. That's attractive. Here's a tactical move you need to master when she tries to provoke you. Maybe it's a teasing insult. Maybe it's comparing you to another guy. You don't flinch. You don't explain, defend, or retaliate. You let it roll off you, with a smirk if you want, but without effort. This subtle act signals something primal: I am not moved by your games. And when she sees that, a part of her instinctively respects you more. It's not about being cold or cruel. It's about showing her that her attempts to destabilize you are wasted energy. Another overlooked weapon: your attention. Not how much you give, but how carefully you withhold. Men think showering a woman with constant attention builds closeness. Wrong. It cheapens your presence. She can't crave what's always overflowing. But when you're deliberate, when you give her focus in small, intense doses, then pull back to your world, she feels the absence. She craves the return. That push and pull is not manipulation, it's rhythm, and rhythm makes her heartbeat align with yours. Now, let's talk about the way you carry yourself when you enter a room. Not the clothes, not the hairstyle, not the cologne, the way you move. Do you rush in, scanning for approval? Or do you walk with measured steps, as if time bends around you? The man who doesn't rush, who doesn't dart his eyes seeking validation, is always more attractive than the one overdressed and over-anxious. Women feel it instantly. They read your body like a story. A slow, grounded presence is a plot twist they didn't expect. If you want a practical exercise, start practicing indifference in small ways. When your phone buzzes, don't grab it instantly. When someone challenges you in conversation, don't rush to correct them. When a woman throws silence at you, don't scramble to break it. Train yourself to slow down, to breathe, to remain unshaken. Every time you do, you hardwire attraction. Not because you're acting cool, but because you're proving you're not a man who dances on command. And here's the brutal truth most men won't admit: women want to feel that they cannot break you. Not because they want to destroy you, but because deep down, they want to lean on a man whose frame is stronger than their storms. If your center collapses every time she shifts, you'll never be more than temporary entertainment. But if you can stay rooted when the winds hit, you become unforgettable. Think about the last time you panicked when she pulled away. Did it actually bring her closer, or did it push her further? And imagine the power you'd feel if, instead of chasing, you let her come back on her own while you carried on unaffected. That's the shift. That's where attraction multiplies. So I'll ask you, have you ever folded under silence, only to regret it later? When was the last time you gave too much attention and watched her drift away? And what would change in your life if you stopped reacting and started controlling the frame? There's a moment every man faces sooner or later. She gives you that half smile, but her words are sharp. Maybe she jokes about you not making enough money, or she throws a comparison your way. My ex used to take me to nicer places. You feel the sting instantly. Most men do exactly what kills them in that moment. They scramble to defend, to prove, to justify. They explain their ambitions, their financial goals, or worse, they promise to do more for her. And in that instant, they don't realize what just happened. They traded respect for approval. They lowered themselves from man to servant. Now imagine the alternative. You hear the jab, you pause, and instead of reacting, you let a small, knowing smile form. You change the subject, or you lean back in your chair and sip your drink. You don't bite. You don't flinch. What message do you think that sends? It tells her, I don't live or die by your words. That restraint, your refusal to react emotionally, is one of the most surprising things that makes you more attractive, because it signals dominance, not over her, but over yourself. Let me break it down. Women test because they need to know. They don't want to end up with a man who's so fragile that one comment can shatter his confidence. Their tests aren't always malicious, they're instinctual. They want to feel that your core is solid. If you break under teasing, if you start over-explaining, they know you're not that man. But if you remain unshaken, you earn a respect that most men will never touch. That respect doesn't fade, it grows into attraction. Here's where strategy comes in. The next time she throws a subtle insult or comparison, don't defend, don't attack back. Use silence, use a smirk, or simply redirect. If you want to add heat, say something like, cute test. You'll have to try harder than that. Delivered calmly, it flips the dynamic. You're not the one being evaluated, you're the one exposing her attempt. That single moment can shift her perception of you from just another man seeking approval to the man who sees through her games and refuses to play. Another overlooked trait. The way you listen. Most men think attraction is built by talking more, telling stories, cracking jokes non-stop. But the man who listens truly listens without rushing to respond radiates a rare power. Not passive listening where you nod along, but active stillness. You lock eyes. You let her words hang in the air, and you absorb without rushing to fill the silence. That restraint makes her feel seen in a way that endless chatter never can. Ironically, the less you say, the more powerful your presence becomes. Think about your posture when you're around women. Do you lean forward constantly, hanging on every word, or do you lean back, grounded, relaxed, like a man who knows he belongs wherever he sits? That simple shift, the refusal to physically chase with your body, creates an energy that women register instantly. They lean in because you're not chasing. They talk more because you're not rushing to perform. Your calm gravity is pulling them closer without you lifting a finger. And then there's one of the biggest surprises of all your discipline. You might think discipline has nothing to do with attraction, but it bleeds into everything. A man who takes care of his body, his money, his habits without flaunting it projects control. Women sense it in your walk, in your tone, in your choices. You don't have to brag about your gym sessions or your career moves. They notice in the way you order food, the way you handle setbacks, the way you carry your schedule. Discipline is sexy because it signals reliability without you saying a word. But here's the key discipline without rigidity. If you're obsessive, anxious, or insecure about your routines, it shows weakness. True discipline is calm. You skip the junk food because it's not even a question. You save money because it's who you are, not because you're trying to impress. You train your body because you respect yourself, not because you need validation. That unshakable discipline makes her feel safe around you, not in a soft, needy way, but in a primal, undeniable way. You become the man she can't help but imagine standing firm when everything else falls apart. Now, let's bring it back to tactics. If you catch yourself over-defending or over-explaining, stop mid-sentence, literally cut yourself off and smile. Train yourself to love the discomfort of not filling the silence. If you find yourself leaning forward on a date, physically lean back, rest your arm, slow your breathing, and let her energy come to you. And if she tests you, meet it with a calm smirk or playful redirect, not anger, not defense. That single adjustment is enough to shift her entire perception of you. Because here's the truth, you don't win attraction by trying harder. You win it by being harder to move, by standing so firmly in your own presence that no jab, no silence, no withdrawal can shake your core. That's the magnetism women don't talk about, but always feel. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you defended yourself too much and felt smaller afterward? How many times have you leaned forward, only to realize later that you were chasing her energy instead of owning yours? And if you practice silence and discipline starting today, what would shift in the way women respond to you? There's a pattern you've probably lived through without even naming it. She starts warm laughing at your jokes, leaning close, making you feel like the only man in the room. Then, almost overnight, she changes. She grows colder, replies slower, pulls back her affection. Your stomach drops, your mind races, and you convince yourself you must have done something wrong. You text more, you call more, you try to fix the distance, and with every move, she drifts further. What you didn't see is that her shift wasn't always about you, it was a test, a silent way of asking, How solid is this man's center? Most men fail because they chase, and in chasing, they show they can be controlled. Here's the brutal truth. The surprising thing that makes you more attractive in these moments isn't what you do. It's what you don't. When she pulls back, your greatest power is restraint. You don't fight for attention. You don't over-explain. You don't collapse into panic. You let her distance hang in the air like smoke, while you continue moving in your lane. That indifference is devastatingly powerful, because it reveals that your world doesn't orbit hers. And once she sees that, she starts orbiting you. Think of it like this: women are drawn to fire, but they respect stone. Fire flares bright, but burns out quickly. Stone is steady, immovable, and rare. When you respond to her withdrawal with fire anger, pleading, neediness, you burn fast and disappear. But when you remain like stone calm, unshaken, unmoved, she feels a stability she can't ignore. Even if she doesn't come back, she leaves with respect. And respect is the soil where true attraction grows. Let's get tactical. When she stops texting, don't double your effort. Match her pace. If she replies in hours, you reply in hours. If she grows cold, you stay steady. The key is to avoid reacting emotionally. If you feel the urge to chase, pause. Ask yourself, what does this prove about me if I fold right now and then choose stillness? That single act protects your frame better than any clever line ever could. Now, another overlooked magnet: the way you handle rejection. Most men take rejection as proof of failure. They sulk, they complain, or they grow bitter. But here's the surprise: how you carry yourself after rejection can make you more attractive than if you'd been accepted. When you shrug off rejection, when you keep your dignity intact, when you move forward without bitterness, you send a rare signal you're a man who cannot be diminished by outcomes. That's intoxicating, because it shows you belong to yourself, not to her approval. Imagine you ask her out and she says no. The average man apologizes, gets defensive, or tries to negotiate. The strong man simply smiles, says, "Fair enough," and carries on as if nothing heavy happened. That lightness stings more than begging ever could, because it tells her you're not emotionally dependent on her response. And sometimes, that very rejection flips later because she realizes you didn't crumble the way others did. You became more intriguing by not needing her. And here's something even deeper: women respect the man who walks away first. You think leaving makes you weak. It doesn't. It makes you rare. When you sense the imbalance, when you feel her energy fading, her tests turning into disrespect, you don't wait until she discards you. You exit with composure. That choice, to end it before she does, leaves a permanent mark, even if she never admits it. She remembers the man who didn't cling when the energy died, because most men never do. Most men beg to be kept around, no matter how cold she gets. You flip the script by being the one who refuses to live on scraps. Now let's talk about the quietest, most surprising magnet of all your solitude. You think being alone makes you unattractive, but solitude, when owned, makes you magnetic. A man who enjoys his own company radiates something women can't fake. It's the energy of, I am complete as I am. You're not desperate for distraction. You're not afraid of your own silence. And when a woman senses that, she feels both curiosity and respect. She knows you'll never tolerate chaos just to avoid being alone. And that, paradoxically, makes her want to step into your world. So here's the challenge. Start practicing solitude like it's a skill. Sit in silence without rushing to music or your phone. Go out alone without needing a group to validate you. Own your space, your time, your presence. Because the man who is at ease with solitude is never truly alone. People are drawn to him women especially, not because he needs them, but because he doesn't. So ask yourself, how many times have you chased harder the moment she pulled away, only to regret it? When was the last time you handled rejection with true composure instead of collapse? And if you learned to walk away first without bitterness, without drama, what kind of man would you become in her eyes and your own? Some men spend their entire lives trying to figure out the secret. They memorize pick-up lines. They study body language tricks. They even change who they are depending on who they're with. And yet, the men who attract the strongest respect and desire don't play those games. They move differently. They live differently. And the shocking part is most of their magnetism comes from things they don't even think about. It's the quiet details, the habits, the frame they carry without showing off. One of the most powerful is the way you say no. Most men are terrified of rejection, so they avoid rejecting women in any form. They agree to things they don't want. They nod along to opinions they don't share. They let their time be drained because they're afraid she'll leave if they push back. But a man who calmly says no, without apology, ignites something primal. It could be as small as refusing a drink you don't want, or declining to cancel your plans because she suddenly just feels like seeing you. That single syllable, delivered with calm certainty, signals boundaries. And boundaries are one of the most underrated, surprising things that make you attractive. They prove you value yourself. And when you value yourself, others have no choice but to value you more. Another is the way you hold back your story. Too many men dump their whole life on the table at once, every detail of their struggles, every dream, every scar, hoping to prove they're deep, real, and trustworthy. But mystery is oxygen to attraction. When you reveal slowly, when you let her earn access to the next layer of your life, you create a rhythm she can't help but lean into. She wonders about you when you're not there. She replays small things you said. You're not hiding, you're pacing. And pacing is power. The surprising truth is, the less you reveal up front, the more space you create for her imagination to fill in the blanks. And often, her imagination paints you in stronger colors than reality ever could. Then there's your resilience. Everyone takes hits in life, financial struggles, failed relationships, setbacks at work. But how you respond to those setbacks is something women notice instantly. Most men complain, collapse, or seek pity. The rare man absorbs the hit, takes a breath, and keeps moving forward without bitterness. He doesn't hide the struggle, but he doesn't wallow either. That calm recovery makes him magnetic because it signals survival. It tells her, I don't just endure storms, I grow stronger through them. And deep down, every woman wants to know she's with a man who won't shatter when life gets heavy. She doesn't even need to say it, she feels it. Let's make this tactical. The next time life throws you a curveball, don't run to her with desperation. Handle it first, fix what you can, steady your emotions, then share it with calm clarity, not panic. That's when she leans closer, not because you're perfect, but because you're unshaken. Attraction isn't built by never falling. It's built by showing that no fall can keep you down for long. Another overlooked magnet is restraint with praise. Yes, compliments have their place, but most men hand them out like candy. The problem, candy loses its taste when there's too much of it. A woman knows when you're drowning her in words because you're trying to buy her approval, but when your compliments are rare, precise, and sincere, they strike harder than any sweet talk ever could. Tell her she looks good when she's dressed up expected. Tell her you noticed how focused she was chasing her goals. Unforgettable. It's not just what you say, it's when and how rarely you say it. Scarcity makes your words valuable. value makes them land. And then there's the deepest magnet of all, the way you carry quiet power. Quiet power isn't about yelling, flexing, or being the loudest in the room. It's about presence. It's about the man who speaks less, but means more with each word. It's about the way others naturally pause when you finally decide to speak, because they know it won't be wasted. Breath. You don't perform. You don't beg. You simply are. And that being is what women and men gravitate toward. The surprising thing is, you don't have to try. You just have to strip away the habits that scream insecurity, over-explaining, over-sharing, over-giving. What's left, when all the noise falls away, is presence. And presence is irresistible. So here's the final challenge I'll leave you with. Look at your own life and ask, where am I giving away power by over-explaining, over-praising, over-chasing? Where can I say no without apology? Where can I slow down and reveal less, not more? And most importantly, where can I build a resilience so unshakable that no test, no silence, no rejection can knock me off center? Because once you master that, attraction stops being something you chase. It becomes something you radiate. She didn't break you. She revealed what you were too afraid to protect.